Escape through the void. The quantum drive screamed in protest as Kira Volkov pushed her small research vessel beyond its limits. Behind her, 3 Nexan Empire warships cut through the darkness of space like predatory birds, their ion cannons painting the void with deadly purple light. "Come on, just hold together," she muttered, her silvery eyes fixed on the navigation display. Her pale blue skin gleamed with sweat as she initiated another emergency jump, her hands dancing across the neural interface with practiced precision. The ship's AI flashed a warning: quantum core critical. She had 2 options: shut down and face capture by the Nexan Empire, or push forward and risk a catastrophic core breach. Given what she'd seen the Nexan forces do to her research facility on Alpha Centauri, the choice was clear. Kira's fingers traced the ancient quantum artifact hanging from her neck, the very discovery that had brought the Empire's wrath down upon her people. Its surface hummed with impossible energy, responding to her touch like a living thing. The secrets it contained about the origins of spacefaring civilization were too dangerous to fall into Nexan hands. Another blast rocked her ship, sending cascading failures through multiple systems. The emergency lighting bathed the cockpit in crimson as a new alert demanded her attention: gravitational anomaly detected. Kira's eyes widened as she studied the readings. The anomaly shouldn't exist. She was in a supposedly empty sector of space, far from any charted worlds or stations. Yet there it was, a subtle gravitational signature suggesting a planetary mass, completely hidden from normal sensors. A direct hit from an ion cannon made the decision for her. With her quantum drive failing and life support systems critically damaged, she had no choice but to dive toward the mysterious anomaly. Perhaps she could lose her pursuers in the gravitational distortions. As her ship penetrated the outer layers of what appeared to be an advanced cloaking field, a world materialized before her, a desert planet orbiting a binary star system. More importantly, her sensors detected a faint energy signature on the surface. Some kind of installation, buried beneath the sand. "Please be a friendly face," she whispered, engaging what remained of her landing thrusters. The pursuit ships hung back, clearly confused by her disappearance into what should have been empty space. The cloaking technology protecting this world was unlike anything she'd ever encountered. The landing was more of a controlled crash. Her ship carved a deep furrow through red sand before coming to rest near a rocky outcropping. Warning sirens blared as multiple systems went into terminal failure. Kira grabbed her emergency pack and the quantum artifact, then triggered the ship's self-destruct sequence. She couldn't risk the Nexan forces tracking the wreckage. The binary stars beat down mercilessly as she stumbled away from her dying vessel. Her environmental suit automatically adjusted to the harsh conditions, but she could still feel the oppressive heat. According to her scanners, the energy signature was emanating from somewhere within the rocky formation ahead. She'd made it perhaps halfway to the rocks when her ship exploded behind her, the quantum core detonation sending a shockwave that knocked her off her feet. As she pushed herself up, spitting sand, a new sound caught her attention, the distinctive whine of defense turrets deploying. Kira froze as weapon ports emerged from the sand around her, their business ends tracking her movement with deadly precision. A voice echoed across the desert, transmitted directly to her suit's communication system. "That's far enough. Identify yourself." The voice was male, speaking perfect universal standard with an accent she'd never heard before. Kira slowly raised her hands, weighing her options. The quantum artifact pulsed against her chest, responding to her elevated heart rate. "I'm Dr. Kira Volkov, quantum archaeologist from the Alpha Centauri Science Academy. I'm seeking asylum from Nexan Empire forces." She paused, then added, "And I really hope you're not with them." A long moment passed, broken only by the whisper of wind across sand. Finally, the voice returned, "Nexan Empire? Never heard of them. But I'm very interested in that artifact you're wearing." Before Kira could respond, a section of the rock face slid aside with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a dark entrance. The defense turrets powered down, retracting into the sand as smoothly as they had appeared. "Come inside, Dr. Volkov. Quickly." My sensors show your pursuit hasn't given up, they're conducting a standard search pattern above the cloaking field. Best not to be out in the open if they get lucky. Kira didn't need to be told twice. She hurried toward the entrance, her curiosity warring with caution. As she stepped into the cool darkness, lights activated automatically, revealing a surprisingly well-maintained corridor leading deeper underground. The rock door sealed behind her with a solid thunk. After a moment, a tall figure emerged from a side passage, and Kira felt her breath catch. He appeared to be human, but that was impossible. Humans had vanished from the galaxy millennia ago, their civilization lost to some great catastrophe that no one quite understood. Yet here stood a man with bronzed skin and storm-gray eyes, wearing a sleek uniform bearing insignia she didn't recognize. He studied her with equal fascination, his gaze lingering on her blue skin and the softly glowing lines that traced her neural interfaces. "I'm Zane Montgomery," he said finally, "Senior Watchman of Earth Outpost 17. His lips curved in a slight smile. "And you, Dr. Volkov, have just stumbled onto humanity's best-kept secret." Kira's mind raced. Earth Outpost. The legendary homeworld of humanity. She'd spent her career studying the artifacts they'd left behind, but this changed everything. The quantum artifact at her throat pulsed once, strong enough for Zane to notice. His eyes narrowed. "Now that," he said, "is interesting. You may be exactly who we've been waiting for." He gestured for her to follow. "Come with me. There's something you need to see." As Kira followed him deeper into the facility, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd stumbled onto something far bigger than her escape from the Nexan Empire. The artifact pulsed again, as if in agreement. Above them, hidden by advanced technology, the Nexan ships continued their search pattern, unaware that beneath the desert sands, an ancient power was beginning to stir, secrets of the archive. The deeper they ventured into Earth Outpost 17, the more Kira's professional composure crumbled. Every corridor, every chamber held technology that by all rights should have crumbled to dust millennia ago. Instead, everything hummed with quiet efficiency, maintained by systems her civilization had only theorized about. "This is impossible," she whispered, running her fingers along a wall of quantum crystalline matrices. "The power requirements alone for a facility this size." "Zero-point energy," Zane said, watching her reaction with barely concealed amusement. "Pulled directly from subspace. The facility's been running on the same power source for 3,000 years. Kira turned to stare at him. "But that's just theoretical physics. My people have been trying to crack zero-point energy extraction for generations." "Your people," Zane said carefully, "might be closer to succeeding than you think." He gestured to the quantum artifact still hanging from her neck. "That's not just any ancient relic, is it?" Before Kira could respond, an alarm echoed through the facility. Zane's expression hardened as he moved to a nearby console. "Your friends up there are getting persistent. They've shifted to a tighter search pattern." "They're not my friends," Kira said, moving to study the tactical display over his shoulder. Her proximity made him stiffen slightly, and she caught a trace of his scent, something like ozone and desert sage. "The Nexan Empire destroys anything they can't control. They've already wiped out 3 civilizations in the past decade." Zane's fingers paused over the controls. "Tell me about them. Everything you know." As Kira described the Empire's methodical campaign of conquest, she watched Zane's expression grow increasingly troubled. When she mentioned their energy-based weapons that could rewrite matter at the quantum level, he swore softly. "Show me," he said, leading her through a series of security checkpoints into what appeared to be the heart of the facility. The chamber was vast, its walls covered in holographic displays showing surveillance feeds from across the galaxy. "Welcome to the archive," Zane said, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. 3,000 years of human intelligence gathering. We've been watching, waiting, protecting what we could from the shadows." He turned to face her. "But lately, something's changing. Patterns we haven't seen since the collapse." Kira's artifact pulsed strongly, drawing both their attention. Zane studied it with new intensity. May I? She hesitated, then lifted the chain over her head. As she handed it to him, their fingers brushed, sending an unexpected charge through her neural interfaces. From his sharp intake of breath, Zane had felt something too. He placed the artifact on a scanning pedestal. Immediately, the chamber's displays shifted, ancient data streaming across them in response to the artifact's presence. Zane's eyes widened as he read the information. "This is impossible," he breathed, unconsciously echoing her earlier words. "These energy signatures, they're identical to readings from the collapse. When Earth was nearly destroyed." "What do you mean?" Kira moved closer, trying to decipher the complex data patterns. "The artifact was found in ruins on my homeworld. We thought it was left by the precursors." "The precursors," Zane said quietly, "were us. Or rather, they were what humanity became after the collapse forced us to evolve." He manipulated the controls, bringing up historical records. 3,000 years ago, Earth faced an enemy that wielded quantum-level weapons. Sound familiar? Kira felt her blood run cold. The Nexan Empire, but that's not possible. They only emerged as a power a few decades ago. No, Zane corrected, they re-emerged. More data filled the screens, ancient battle footage, scientific readings, death tolls that made her sick to her stomach. Humanity didn't just go into hiding after the collapse. We transformed ourselves, seeded colony worlds with genetically engineered versions of humanity that could survive in different environments. Kira's hand went to her blue-tinted skin, her neural interfaces suddenly feeling very heavy. "Are you saying your people, Dr. Volkov, are as human as I am? Just adapted. Evolution guided by desperate science." He smiled slightly. "Though I have to say, the blue is quite striking." Despite the gravity of the situation, Kira felt heat rise to her cheeks, turning them a deeper azure. She cleared her throat. "But why hide this knowledge? Why let the galaxy think humanity was extinct?" "Because we needed time," Zane said, his expression growing serious again. "Time to prepare, to develop defenses against quantum-level weapons. The Nexan Empire nearly wiped us out once. We couldn't let that happen again." The artifact pulsed once more, and new data cascaded across the screens. Kira gasped as she recognized the patterns. "These are weapons schematics. Defense systems." "Yes," Zane confirmed. "And if I'm reading this correctly, your artifact isn't just a data storage device. It's a key, designed to activate humanity's hidden defensive network when the Nexan Empire returned." Their eyes met across the pedestal, the implications hanging heavy between them. The artifact's soft light played across their faces, highlighting how similar their features were despite their surface differences. "You've been waiting for someone like me," Kira said softly. "Someone with the right genetic markers to activate ancient human technology." "We've been waiting for you specifically," Zane corrected. "The archive's been tracking your research for years. We just didn't expect the Nexan Empire to find you first." Another alarm sounded, more urgent than the last. They both turned to the tactical displays, watching as the Nexan ships above adjusted their search pattern yet again. "They're not giving up," Kira observed. "No," Zane agreed, his hand unconsciously finding hers. "But neither are we. The question is, Dr. Volkov, are you ready to learn who you really are? What you're capable of?" Kira looked down at their joined hands, his tan skin against her blue, and felt the weight of 3,000 years of hidden history. The artifact pulsed once more, like a heartbeat calling her home. "Show me everything," she said. As Zane began to access the archive's deepest files, neither of them noticed the subtle shift in the facility's power systems. Deep below them, ancient machinery stirred to life, responding to the presence of two compatible genetic codes working in harmony. Humanity's greatest weapons were beginning to wake, even as humanity's greatest enemy circled overhead, growing ever closer to finding them. The hidden network. Streams of holographic data enveloped Kira as she stood in the center of the archive's neural interface chamber. Her quantum artifact, now connected to the facility's mainframe, pulsed in synchronization with the waves of information flowing through her neural pathways. The sensation was overwhelming, 3,000 years of human history, technology, and evolution pouring directly into her consciousness. Easy, Zane's voice anchored her as she swayed slightly. His hands steadied her shoulders, the physical contact helping her focus. Don't try to process everything at once. Let your neural interfaces filter it naturally. There's so much, she whispered, her silver eyes reflecting the cascading data. The genetic engineering programs, the seeding of colony worlds, the development of quantum technologies. She paused, focusing on one particular stream of information. Wait. These are coordinates. Hundreds of them. Zane nodded, moving to a nearby console. Other outposts. Earth wasn't the only world we fortified. After the collapse, humanity created a network of hidden stations throughout the galaxy. Most have been dormant for centuries, waiting for the right signal to reactivate. A signal like this? Kira touched her artifact, which hummed in response. Exactly like that. The question is, how many of these outposts are still operational? How many of our people survived? Kira noted his use of our people, no longer distinguishing between his humanity and her altered genetics. The thought warmed her, even as she focused on the task at hand. There's only one way to find out, she said, stepping deeper into the neural interface field. We need to wake them up. Kira, wait, Zane started, but she had already begun the sequence. The artifact's glow intensified as Kira channeled her energy through it, using techniques she'd learned studying quantum archaeology. The facility's power systems surged in response, and for a moment, she felt as if she could see every hidden outpost, every sleeping station scattered across the stars. Then the first response came. A holographic figure materialized in the chamber, a woman with scaled skin the color of sunset, her eyes bright with recognition. This is Commander Lysandra Vale, Earth Outpost 23. We've been waiting 3,000 years for this signal. She smiled, revealing slightly pointed teeth. It's good to see our lost children have found their way home. Before either Kira or Zane could respond, more holograms appeared. Humans of every conceivable variation, some with crystalline skin that refracted light, others with adaptations for high-gravity worlds or deep space environments. Each confirmed their outpost status, each expressed joy at the reactivation of the network. 12 active outposts, Zane breathed, watching the figures materialize around them. Out of hundreds, but it's more than we hoped for. The celebrations were cut short by a priority alert from the facility's defense systems. Above them, the Nexan ships had changed their search pattern again, this time with purpose. They've detected the power surge, Kira realized, her heart sinking. The network activation was too strong to hide. Commander Vale's hologram stepped forward. The Nexan Empire. So they've finally returned. Her expression hardened. We've spent 3 millennia preparing for this moment. Each outpost has weapons, ships, technologies they can't imagine. But we're scattered, another hologram pointed out, a man with skin like burnished copper and 6 fingers on each hand. Even with the network active, we can't coordinate a defense quickly enough. Yes, we can, Kira said suddenly, studying the data streams with new understanding. The quantum artifact isn't just a key, it's a synchronization device. If we route its signal through the facility's zero-point reactor, we could create a quantum entanglement network, Zane finished, catching her vision. Real-time communication and coordination between all outposts, regardless of distance. It's never been attempted at this scale, Vale warned. The power requirements alone will be massive, Kira acknowledged. And the Nexan ships will detect it immediately. We'll have to be ready for a fight. The holograms exchanged glances, centuries of waiting finally coming to an end. One by one, they nodded their agreement. Begin the synchronization, Vale commanded. We'll ready our defenses. The Empire won't find us as helpless as they did 3,000 years ago. As the other outpost commanders vanished to prepare their forces, Kira turned to Zane. I'll need to be directly connected to the zero-point reactor to manage the power flow. It's not without risk. Zane's expression tightened. How bad? If the quantum harmonics destabilize, the feedback through my neural interfaces could kill me. She tried to smile. But then, the Nexan Empire will definitely kill me if we do nothing. Instead of responding, Zane pulled her close and kissed her. For a moment, the world fell away, the danger, the responsibility, everything but the feel of his lips on hers and the surprising rightness of it. When they parted, his eyes were intense. Don't die, he said simply. I'll try not to, she promised, then grinned. Besides, I just found out I'm technically human. I'd like some time to process that. Their moment was interrupted by proximity alerts. The Nexan ships were moving into attack position, having finally detected the outpost's location. Time to go to work, Kira said, squeezing Zane's hand before moving toward the reactor chamber. The artifact pulsed against her chest, ready to help unite humanity's lost children in their darkest hour. As she walked, she accessed the facility's historical records one last time. The first Nexan invasion had nearly destroyed humanity, forcing them to change everything about themselves to survive. But this time would be different. This time, humanity's scattered children were coming home. And they were ready for war. Above the desert planet, hidden beneath its quantum camouflage, the Nexan ships began their attack run. They had no way of knowing they were about to face not just one outpost, but the combined might of humanity's greatest weapons and most advanced technologies, coordinated through a network that transcended space itself, awakening the Guardians. The zero-point reactor chamber thrummed with barely contained power as Kira connected her neural interfaces to the main control hub. Energy coursed through the quantum crystalline matrices surrounding her, making her blue skin shimmer with reflected light. Power levels at 70% and climbing, Zane reported from his station. The quantum harmonics are holding stable, but barely. Through the neural link, Kira could feel the massive energies building throughout the facility. More importantly, she could feel the other outposts connecting one by one, their quantum signatures synchronizing through her artifact. Each connection sent a shock through her system, testing the limits of her enhanced biology. Outpost 23 linked, Commander Vale's hologram reported. Our weapons are hot. Detecting multiple Nexan warships dropping out of hyperspace in our sector. Outpost 31 online, another commander announced. They're hitting us too. This is a coordinated attack, they must have had sleeper agents tracking all potential human signals. Kira gritted her teeth as another surge of power rushed through her neural pathways. They've been planning this for centuries, she managed. The attacks on my people, the destruction of other civilizations, they were hunting for signs of human adaptation, trying to find us. Well, they found us, Zane said grimly, checking the tactical display. 6 capital ships now in orbit, launching drop ships. Ground invasion incoming. Through the quantum network, Kira could see everything, every Nexan ship, every movement of their forces across multiple star systems. But more importantly, she could see humanity's response. Hidden weapons platforms emerging from gas giants, stealth fighters launching from asteroid bases, and beneath the surface of dozens of worlds, something far more powerful stirring to life. The Guardians, she whispered, accessing ancient files. They're real. Zane looked up sharply. The what? Before she could respond, the facility shuddered under the first bombardment. The quantum camouflage was failing under the assault, revealing their location to the enemy fleet. Kira, Zane called out, we need those defense systems now. She closed her eyes, letting the quantum artifact's energy merge completely with her consciousness. In that moment, she understood why she had been chosen, why her people had been guided through generations of genetic engineering to produce someone like her. The Guardians weren't weapons at all, they were something far more ancient and powerful. Opening quantum apertures, she announced, her voice resonating with newfound power. All outposts, prepare for Guardian deployment. Across 12 star systems, the surface of dozen worlds began to crack. From beneath ancient ice sheets, desert sands, and ocean depths, they rose, colossal figures of living metal and quantum energy, each the size of a small city. The Guardians, humanity's ultimate defense, created through technology so advanced it appeared magical. Through her neural link, Kira could feel them awakening, their vast consciousness touching hers. They had slept for 3 millennia, waiting for someone with the right genetic key to awaken them. By the stars, Commander Vale breathed, watching as a Guardian emerged from her world's northern ice cap. The legends were true. The Nexan fleet responded immediately, redirecting their fire toward the emerging Titans. But their weapons, as advanced as they were, seemed to pass right through the Guardians' quantum-shifted forms. "They're not just weapons platforms," Kira explained, understanding flowing through her enhanced mind. "They're quantum entities, existing partially outside normal spacetime. The Nexan Empire's technology can't touch them because they operate on completely different laws of physics." The first Guardian reached up, its massive hand seeming to brush against the Nexan capital ship above it. Where they touched, reality itself seemed to warp. The ship didn't explode, it simply ceased to exist, its quantum structure unraveled by the Guardian's touch. "All outposts," Kira commanded, feeling the power of 12 Guardians flowing through the network, "launch counterattack. Everything we have. The Guardians will provide cover against their quantum weapons." The hidden human fleet emerged from its centuries-long slumber, ships of impossible design rising from secret bases. 3,000 years of preparation and advancement were unleashed in a single, devastating assault. But the Nexan Empire hadn't survived millennia by being unprepared. From their remaining ships, they launched something new, dark, writhing forms that seemed to drink in light itself. "Antimatter constructs," Zane warned, reading the energy signatures. "They're learning, adapting to the Guardian's quantum nature." Kira felt the clash through her neural interfaces as matter met antimatter, quantum force met quantum force. The strain of coordinating the battle through the network was beginning to tell, blood trickled from her nose, her neural pathways burning with the effort. "Kira." Zane's voice seemed distant. "Your neural patterns are destabilizing. You need to disconnect." "Not yet," she gasped. Through the quantum link, she could feel the tide of battle flowing across multiple star systems. The Guardians were holding, but the Nexan forces were relentless, seemingly endless in number. "We need to do something they won't expect." An idea formed in her quantum-enhanced mind, dangerous, possibly suicidal, but potentially decisive. She began redirecting power from the zero-point reactor, channeling it through her artifact and into the quantum network itself. "What are you doing?" Zane demanded, watching power levels spike dangerously. "Creating a quantum resonance cascade," Kira explained, even as pain lanced through her skull. "If I can synchronize all 12 Guardians at exactly the right frequency, the feedback could tear you apart. Or it could tear apart the fabric of spacetime around the Nexan fleet," she countered. "Sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything." Through tears of pain, she saw Zane move toward her, determination on his face. But instead of trying to stop her, he placed his hands on the quantum interface beside hers. "Then we do it together," he said. "My human genetics combined with your adapted ones, double the strength." The moment his hands touched the interface, Kira felt their consciousness merge through the quantum network. Suddenly the pain was manageable, the vast energies flowing through them shared between 2 bodies instead of 1. Together, they began the final sequence, their combined genetic keys unlocking the Guardian's full potential. Above them, across 12 systems, the giant quantum entities began to pulse with building power. The Nexan fleet never saw the end coming. In a single instant, space itself seemed to fold around their ships, reality turning inside out as the quantum resonance cascade reached its peak. When space finally smoothed out again, the Nexan capital ships were simply gone, their quantum structure scattered across a million alternate dimensions. The remaining Nexan forces, seeing their leadership destroyed by powers they couldn't comprehend, began a rapid retreat. But Kira knew, as she finally allowed herself to collapse into Zane's arms, that this was only the beginning. "They'll be back," she whispered, her neural interfaces still sparking with residual energy. "With new weapons, new tactics. And we'll be ready," Zane promised, holding her close. "All of us, together." Through the quantum network, she could feel the other outposts celebrating their victory, could sense the Guardians returning to their resting places beneath the surface of their worlds. But she could also feel something else, a growing connection between all of humanity's scattered children, a sense of shared purpose and identity that had been lost for 3 millennia. The real war was just beginning. But for the first time in 3,000 years, humanity was truly united. And this time, they would not be forced to hide. Rise of Two Worlds. 3 days after the first battle, Kira stood in Earth Outpost 17's command center, watching holographic displays track the movement of Nexan reinforcements across the galaxy. Her neural interfaces had finally stopped burning, though occasional sparks of quantum energy still coursed through them, aftereffects of the resonance cascade. "They're gathering a force larger than anything we've ever seen," Commander Vale's hologram reported, her scaled skin reflecting light as she gestured to tactical displays. "Our long-range scouts count over 300 capital ships, plus something else." She hesitated. "Something massive." "Show me," Kira commanded, the quantum artifact at her throat pulsing in response to her concern. The holographic display shifted, revealing an object that seemed to bend space around it, a construct of dark energy and antimatter larger than a small moon. Even through the quantum network, its presence felt wrong, like a tear in the fabric of reality. "The World Breaker," Zane said from behind her, his voice grim. He stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "It's what they used during the collapse. We thought all of them were destroyed." Kira leaned into his touch, drawing strength from the contact. "How did they hide something that big for 3,000 years?" "The same way we hid," another outpost commander suggested, a woman with crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbow patterns. "In pocket dimensions, waiting for the right moment." "They'll reach Earth in 6 hours, Vale announced. "All our surviving outposts report similar constructs heading for their locations." "This is it, they mean to finish what they started 3 millennia ago." Kira closed her eyes, accessing the quantum network that connected all 12 outposts. Through it, she could feel the Guardians stirring beneath the surface of their worlds, ready to rise again. But she could also sense something else, a pattern in the quantum fields that she'd missed before. Her eyes snapped open. "The World Breakers, they're all connected. Just like our network." Zane caught her meaning immediately. "A quantum entanglement web. If we could disrupt it, we could destroy them all at once," Kira finished. "But the power required." She turned to face him, her silver eyes intense. "We'd need to channel the zero-point energy of all 12 outposts simultaneously. The strain would destroy most of our facilities," Vale warned. "Better than letting those things reach our worlds," Zane countered. "But even with all our outposts combined, we'd need a focal point, something to direct and amplify the energy." Kira touched her artifact. "We have one. The same device that woke the Guardians can channel their power. But..." She met Zane's eyes. "It would require a direct neural interface. No buffers, no safety protocols." Understanding dawned on his face. "It would kill you." "Not necessarily," the crystalline commander interjected. "Not if the quantum harmonics were perfectly balanced between two compatible genetic patterns." Kira and Zane shared a look, remembering how they'd joined forces during the first battle. Original human genetics combined with engineered adaptation, a bridge between Earth's past and its evolved future. "How long until your forces can be in position?" Kira asked Vale. 2 hours. "We'll hold off their fleet as long as we can, give you time to power up the network." "Make it count," Zane said. We won't get a second chance at this. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Throughout the facility, systems were pushed to their limits as power was diverted to the zero-point reactor. Through the quantum network, Kira could feel the other outposts doing the same, their combined energy building to levels that made her neural interfaces tingle. Finally, the moment arrived. The Nexan fleet emerged from hyperspace, their world breakers casting impossible shadows across space itself. The human fleet rose to meet them, ships of every possible configuration, crewed by humanity in all its evolved forms, united for the first time in 3 millennia. In the reactor chamber, Kira and Zane stood before the quantum interface, their hands clasped. Ready? She asked. He smiled, that same mix of determination and affection she'd first seen in him. With you? Always. They placed their free hands on the interface together. Immediately, power surged through them, not just from their facility, but from all 12 outposts. Kira felt her consciousness expanding, merging with Zane's as the quantum network connected them to every guardian, every defense system, every particle of energy their people had gathered over 3,000 years. Above them, the battle began. Human ships darted between Nexan cruisers, their weapons blazing. The Guardians rose once more, their massive forms distorting space as they engaged the world breakers. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as quantum weapons met quantum weapons. Through it all, Kira and Zane held on, their joined minds directing the flow of power. The artifact at Kira's throat grew brighter and brighter, until its light outshone the reactor core itself. Now! Kira called out, her voice echoing with quantum harmonics. All outposts, full power. Energy beyond imagination poured through them. Kira felt like her very atoms were coming apart, held together only by her connection to Zane. Together, they shaped the power, guided it, forced it into patterns that defied conventional physics. The artifact pulsed one final time, and reality shattered. For a moment that stretched into eternity, Kira saw everything, every possible timeline, every potential future. She saw the Nexan Empire's true origin, saw how they'd split from humanity's evolutionary tree millions of years ago, choosing to embrace antimatter and dark energy while their cousins chose the light. She saw how it could end, here and now, with a single pulse of quantum energy that would unravel their world breakers and scatter their fleet across 1,000 dimensions. Then the moment passed, and she was back in her body, still holding Zane's hand as the power finally faded. Through the facility's viewports, they watched as the world breaker above them collapsed in on itself, taking half the Nexan fleet with it. Similar scenes played out across 12 star systems as humanity's greatest enemies were finally, definitively defeated. We did it, Zane breathed, pulling her close. It's over. But Kira shook her head, smiling. No, she said softly. It's just beginning. She was right. In the days that followed, as the outposts began to rebuild, something remarkable happened. The quantum network they'd created remained stable, connecting all of humanity's scattered children. Ships began moving between the outposts openly, no longer hiding in the shadows. People with scales and crystals and blue skin walked the streets of recovered Earth cities alongside their unmodified human cousins. 2 weeks after the battle, Kira stood with Zane on the surface of Earth, watching the twin suns set over the desert. Her artifact hummed softly, now permanently linked to the network that united their people. What do you think they'd say? She asked, looking up at the stars beginning to emerge. The ones who first sent us out there, who changed us so we could survive. Zane pulled her close, his warmth familiar and comforting. I think they'd be proud. We didn't just survive, we found our way back to each other. Above them, ships from 12 human worlds traced paths across the darkening sky, their quantum drives leaving trails of light like new constellations. Humanity had hidden for 3,000 years, changing and adapting and growing stronger. Now they were ready to step into the light again, not as scattered refugees, but as one people with 1,000 faces. The artifact pulsed one last time as Kira leaned up to kiss Zane, its light merging with the starshine above. After 3 millennia of darkness, a new dawn was finally breaking. And this time, they would face it together.